All right, so I've got Charles Russell here with me. Thanks for coming, Charles. And we're just going to go over, I guess, a few questions about your background and working with US Foods. Can you tell me about your career journey and how you got into the food service and hospitality industry?
Yeah, so I was 20 years old going to school. Down in St. George, I was working 2 jobs to put myself through school, and Chili's was opening. And I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So became a server, only had to work the 1 job, didn't have to do both, and really enjoyed the job. It was a challenge, it was something new all the time. Became a trainer. I was a trainer in the heart of house, trainer in the front of house, opened a couple of restaurants, and decided to go into management with them.
Awesome.
So did that for about 5 years, took a break, joined the Air Force. Was in that for 8 years, but as a reservist.
Right.
So went back to Chili's after I was done with that, so 2008, and then stayed with them up until just 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I loved it. I worked up from hourly employee up to a GM, and then director of operations, and then VP of operations for a franchise group. And then just looking at quality of life as I'm getting older, and my kids are getting older, wanted to find something a little bit different, and US Foods had an opening, so I gave it a shot, and been here ever since.
Awesome. What kind of education, training, or early experience helped you prepare for your current role?
So, education-wise, I mean, obviously high school, and then almost had my associates. I was going for business management. Training just at the facilities that I worked with. Chili's had a really comprehensive training platform. It was really robust and taught you everything you needed to know to be successful. They had a lot of online, and then they had a lot of extra classes that their high performers would get into. My time in the military just teaches you how to keep going no matter what.
And discipline.
Yep, teaches that discipline. And then the training program with US Foods when I came in was great. It was going from working in the food industry to selling food to the food industry was a big change for me. Just because I hadn't never really done it. Yeah, I sold food to customers coming into my restaurant, but going out and I knew how to bring people in, and that was provide a great experience, hot food, and get them in and get them out.
So I know you touched on what drew you to US Foods, just wanting better quality of life. How has that role evolved over time?
So over the last 6 years, it's evolved quite a bit. So when I first came in, US Foods on the national, I worked for the national side of US Foods, and it was very much, hey, take care of your customers, penetrate the accounts, get them buying more SKUs, and show them new trending items, products that maybe save them money, and we do business reviews once a quarter with every one of our customers, and over the last 3 years it's really gone into more of a growth mindset. Now we're having to open new accounts every couple months, and so we're out beating the pavement trying to find new accounts and doing those kind of things. So it's evolved a little bit. I mean, obviously COVID was a big challenge for everybody. Manufacturers weren't producing enough product, and a lot of places were closed, but healthcare and senior living still open and still going. So we had to learn how to work around some of those shortages and find products that met the nutritional guidelines. And then, of course, coming out of COVID, you got manufacturers that are still struggling to keep up, and avian flu and all kinds of fun stuff there.
And what does your typical day-to-day look like as a national accounts rep?
So Mondays and Fridays I work in the office, but they're planning days. So Mondays I'm planning for 3 weeks out my visits, preparing business reviews, or going through each account and just kind of seeing what I can go in and show them that might help impact their business. Friday's kind of my wrap up from the week, just finalize any notes and anything that I may not finished up on Monday. And then Tuesday through Thursday I'm on the road visiting customers. We typically visit 15 to 20 customers a week.
Awesome. So what types of hospitality clients do you primarily work with?
So right now I have 6 golf courses. I've got a couple of 3 catering accounts that I work with most of the time, and Obviously, I have healthcare is my big
Yeah.
one. I have Intermountain. They're the largest portion of my route. But with my hospitality accounts, typically the golf courses and those
And
catering
catering.
accounts. So
And how do you support these clients in improving their operations or solving challenges?
we've got a lot of great tools at US Foods. So knowing the tools and what each company, what interests them, I go in and spend time with them. Like we have Menu Profit Pro. It's a platform where you can go in and you can create a recipe for a menu item, or maybe it's a recipe for something you make from scratch. And you can break down your portions. It gives you the nutritionals. It tells them what it's going to cost to make it, and they can adjust the price to make sure they're profitable.
Right.
I teach them how to use our inventory platform. Obviously, saving them time by using the online ordering, and you can walk through with your phone. And
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't used to that type of technology, so teaching them how to use that. And then I'm constantly bringing them new items that I think will be beneficial. So I have a barbecue spot that I have. He had just a plain burger on there, but he's a barbecue spot. So
Yeah.
talked him in. I had him try our brisket burgers, and brought him a smoked sausage, and because he didn't have any sausage on his menu, and he's added them both. He just sold, for one catering yesterday, he sold 500 pieces of sausage.
Wow.
Just something he's never had on his menu, and probably
Diversified and,
Yep.
and an easy product
Yeah,
to
easy.
incorporate.
Exactly. So, constantly looking for things that'll save them time, right? With today's labor force, you've got to have, it's not what it was when I was coming up. So being able to save them time and manufacture process in the kitchen, showing them items that are pre-made or, ready to eat, you just got to heat them up.
Yeah.
Because that saves them time with the labor that they have.
Which labor is the biggest cost in a kitchen.
Yep. You got labor, food cost, and comps, right? So
Can you give a quick overview of what US Foods does and what sets it apart in the food service industry?
I'd say we lead in technology. Our technology is the best on the market. It's user friendly for the people that are ordering from us, but not just placing the orders. The Menu Profit Pro, the inventory platform. There's self-reporting that they can pull all their own reports from, which is great. We partner with our team. I think the customer service is the other part of it. When I take over a business from one of my competitors, a lot of times I hear, man, I've seen you more in the last 3 months than I saw my other rep in the last 9 years. So, and then our customer service team, we do have a third party, but they don't communicate with our customers. We have 10 girls in our office that work with all of our customers, and when our customer service calls in, they'll get one of the 2 people on my team, or in an interest of time, if they're both busy, it'll pass to a third. But
Yeah.
everybody on our team here in Salt Lake and Billings knows all of the customers. So I think that's another piece. And then our team selling aspect. We've
Yeah.
got COP specialists, we've got a produce specialist, we've got a restaurant operations coordinator. You've got our chef; he's phenomenal. So we have a whole team selling aspect, and we go to market with that. And it doesn't cost the customer any more money. It's just what we do and how we do it.
And I have noticed that difference, as far as reps coming by and everything, checking in, seeing how things go. And that's been great. How does US Foods partner with hospitality businesses beyond just delivering products?
Well, like I talked about, we've got a restaurant operations controller, and they'll come out and show them how to use some of the tools behind the scenes if I don't know how to do it. They'll show them some new tools like Toast or some of those kind of things to help them be more profitable,
POS
right?
systems.
POS system that translates into the back office, so you got a good inventory system. We've got our COP specialists that we bring out when we've got somebody that's trying to decide on different meats and can't make a decision. And these guys, our current COP guy was a butcher for 18 years, so he knows the business really well and super sharp when it comes to that. We go to market with a team. It's not just me.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Okay, let's see, what do we got next? What are some of the most important skills needed to succeed in management or sales leadership role like yours?
I think you've got to be resilient. You got to have drive. You got to have passion, a willingness to learn. You can't think you know everything. I learn something new every day. And you got to be able to create relationships. I think that's in sales, that's the most important part of the business, is being able to come in, create a great relationship, and know that you can trust me, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
you call me and say, hey, I need this, and I tell you, hey, it'll be there tomorrow. If it's not there, you lose some trust. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that is very important. I'll be honest, I had US Foods trying to sell me at another property. I'm not going to mention the rep, but just wasn't really interested as a rep and wasn't really looking to improve my business line. And he was essentially just trying to, at that point, sell himself as well. If you're ever out of items, you know, I can be your extra truck as a backup to whatever you're trying to do, not necessarily driving to try and sell the business to us and showcase, you know, product and building that relationship. So I think you and Val have done that very
Awesome.
well. And
Thank you.
and even opened up my eyes to, you know, looking at making the switch and some of these changes to see how it can benefit the industry.
I'm glad.
How do you manage client relationships and internal teams to ensure great service? And I know you've touched on this a little bit.
So on my internal team, one of the things is I'm always coaching and developing my peers. So Cami Peterson, who's one of our AEs, she used to be my customer service rep when I first came in 6 years ago. She's phenomenal. So kept coaching her and developing her and working with her. And she finally took the role like 3 years ago, and she's done an outstanding job. My current account coordinator, I'm working with her, developing her because she wants to become an AE. And so constantly coaching and developing and asking for feedback, because when I open up for them to give me feedback, then they're more susceptible to taking feedback. Think, you know, obviously our customer service aspect and our team selling approach are huge, but then when I come in to visit, you'll notice I don't always come in and try to sell you something. Sometimes I just come in to see how you're doing, how's the business, and, you know, how's the family, how's school, because you're a person, right? You're not here 24/7. This isn't your life. So, you know, having that relationship of, you know, it's not just
business.
Business.
That's important. Have you already answered that? What's your approach to leadership?
I think for me, I've always have a very open door policy, and I live to learn. So constantly learning from everybody. When there's something that comes up as far as something we're looking to implement, I'll take feedback from everybody on the team and try to put it together as a team, because I know when they bring that stuff to the table, they drive it better.
Right.
If I just slap something down on the desk and say, hey, this is how we're going, I don't get much buy-in. But by putting the team together and giving them ideas and having their ideas go in there, and you know, my ideas aren't always the best.
No.
I mean, it's something I've done somewhere else, but maybe something else will work different here. So
Yeah, exactly. And I've noticed that with my different properties as well, just working to kind of the team's strengths, and, you know, there's some things they might know better than you just from from their roles. But what major trends are you currently seeing in the hospitality or food service industry?
I'm seeing a lot more. You know, back in the day, it was just pretty basic. You go in and you get a burger, or but you're seeing a lot more gourmet stuff nowadays. Seeing people try to get over the top with candied bacon, or, you know, different toppings to kind of set themselves as a
Not the
niche.
mom and pop burger Shake Shack
Exactly.
anymore.
Exactly. Like I went to brunch a couple weeks ago, and they're just a breakfast place. That's all they serve is breakfast all day. But amazing food, just something I've never seen before.
Where was that, if you don't mind?
It's down in Sandy. I'll have to look it up. It's
is it the Sunday's Best? Or
I think that might be it. It's just you walk in and they got like chandeliers everywhere, and
I think
they
that
got
might
like a
be
waffle
Sunday's
bar.
Best. Yeah.
So it was a girl that I know was like, "Hey, you want to go get brunch at this new place?" I'm like, "Sure, let's try it out."
I asked because I have a buddy who just opened one in Salt Lake.
Oh, okay.
And they're doing very well from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Are there any innovations or tech tools that have changed how you or your clients do business? I think you've already answered that pretty well.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Seeing restaurants grow, seeing like Charlotte Roses when I took them from Cisco or from their other person, they were doing okay, but we just kind of he buys 100% from us, but he was buying $400 or $500 a week in the beginning, and now he's buying $2,500 a week, and it's because his caterings have grown. He's been able to expand by
Scale.
the use of our tools and bringing in some new ideas. It's opened up for even more people wanting to get catering. So seeing companies stay profitable so they can keep their doors open.
Yeah.
It's not really about just the sales. It's, are they profitable on the back end? Do they know about, hey, so we know our food costs, but how do you grow your restaurant sales? It's going to be guest counts and it's suggestive selling. If your team isn't suggestive selling, you're not adding what's on every check, right? You're not growing what's on every check. So, but yeah, seeing people grow and be successful.
That's awesome. I like that. What advice would you give someone studying hospitality and hoping to enter the industry?
Go into it with open eyes. Have a framework of who you want to be, who you want your identity to be, and how you want to lead. Learn as much as you can as you're into that new role, and ask for feedback constantly. I think that's one of the most important things is, what feedback do you have for me? Just because it opens up that line of communication.
Right.
And the other part's active listening. I think a lot of times when you get in leadership, you've got so many plates spinning because it's that time of day, and you get somebody that comes to you with a problem or an idea, and if you don't actively listen to them, it shuts them down and they don't come back and give you feedback or bring ideas or ask for help.
Are there career paths within the company like US Foods that hospitality students might not think of?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the selling on the street, local sales or national sales, because of the fact it's not necessarily hospitality, but you're selling to hospitality-driven business.
Right.
And with that type of knowledge and that type of experience, you can lend to, and that's kind of what's helped me with my career is because of my years of hospitality coming into this, I've got a different perspective than most salespeople because most of them haven't worked in the restaurant industry. They've done sales their whole life and they're just selling from one food company to the next, or they're going from selling cars or something else to selling food. So,
and I guess the way I even am kind of in thought, sounds like you guys kind of have the different industries within US Foods that you primarily target. I would imagine you have somebody over resorts or more hotel-driven business lines.
So we have national sales, which we take care of all customers on a group purchasing organization, sort of GPO.
Right.
So Premier, Vizient, Avendra. Utah, we don't have Avendra, but Food Buy, all those kind of things.
Right.
So those, we specialize in that business, and those are going to be your resorts. It's going to be your healthcare. It's going to be your senior living. It's going to be, catering and golf courses and those kind of things.
Awesome.
So like we have Vail Resorts in Park City, and we have the one in Wyoming, Jackson Hole.
Yeah. What's one thing you wish you had known earlier in your career?
How great this job was, and that there is quality of life. I absolutely loved my job at Chili's.
Yeah.
I did not want to leave there. But the hours, 50, 60, 70 hours a week just got to the point where, and it's nights, weekends, it's holidays, it's everything. And with US Foods being on the national side, I work Monday through Friday. On holidays, I work, like it's typically a Monday, it's an office day for me, so I'll knock out my office work and be done a little bit early. And just the quality of life of not having to be on call 24/7. As a GM or a director or a VP, you get those calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to fire somebody because they did this, and you're the guy that has to answer. So I think not having to work weekends and not having to miss out on stuff because of
And are they pretty flexible if son's got a game?
Oh yeah. If
Dip
I
out,
need to
split a little bit early.
Yeah, so they don't watch us. You know, their goal is, hey, as long as your customers are happy
And your work's
and
getting done.
your visits are getting taken care of, and you know your numbers are good, then you know if you need to bail a little bit early to pick up the kids from school, or every other Friday I pick up my kids at 1. Then it's an office day for me anyways, but
Yeah.
I'll go.
You
You know,
can sometimes crank stuff
Yeah.
out quicker.
yep.
That's awesome. Okay, well, I appreciate your time, and
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any other inputs or
No,
that was very helpful, so I appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.